Welcome to the Sham Show with Marco and Curtis.
Today, we've got a very special guest, our local tech guy, Scott.
I'm Scott, and we're going to be talking about how the current events of COVID-19, economical kind of financial collapse thing, is affecting each of our local businesses and how we've been able to try and adapt and keep things going forward. And how cryptocurrency might be the thing that's here to save the day.
The Sham Show. Oh.
Welcome to the Sham Show.
With Marco and Curtis. We're here with Scott Lantow of Revival Tech. And he's going to...
Here remotely.
Yeah, here remotely due to...
Practicing some very far social distancing.
Right. Being smart here, and why not do it when we have the tech guru on?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Right, man? I definitely got the patience.
Goofy arrangement, but
yeah, it's very fitting.
It's solid. It's good. It's good to see you through a screen, but at least, you know, we're together. We're chatting, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah, man. It's way better than nothing.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us what you've been up to, and introduce yourself to everyone, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I'm Scott, and I'm the CEO and owner-operator of Revival Tech Repair, just a local tech repair kind of spot in town in the greater Rockford area. We service the greater Rockford area. We do phone, tab, computer, and game system repairs. Been open about 3 years, going strong, and been really coming in hot and helping out a lot of people in the current, landscape of the whole Corona stay-at-home deal. Got a lot of people that need to get their at-home work setups kind of fixed up, tuned up, or started from nothing. And also been helping a lot of people get their kids set up for some, doing school at home. And teachers been doing video conferencing and stuff like that. So we've been trying to really work extra hours and provide for the community and make sure that we've got some computers for sale. We're turning people's computers around quick for them and offering remote support. So like when you're at home, after you maybe picked up your computer, now you're like still trying to figure out how to get things set up. So we can even log in and help you remotely and stuff like that. And then
How have you guys been doing that? How have you guys been doing that? The remote?
So we have a service called Revival Tech Care PC. Unfortunately, it doesn't work on Mac. But if you got a Windows computer, our software will, kind of give us an avenue to kind of log in and do the fancy, similar to like a work IT guy that, logs in and just starts moving the mouse around, and people are like, oh, wow, this magic, I can't believe you're moving things here. And we're able to offer that for the residential community at a very affordable rate. And I operate on what I like to call the terrible businessman model. So quite often, if it's a quick and simple one, I'm not even charging you. I'm just trying to help.
That's a
Not
good
hitting them
policy.
with the low blows.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I need my printer set up. And if it takes me like 3 minutes, I'm like, hey, dude, send somebody my way. I'm not trying to nickel and dime you and be like, well, that's a minimum 30 minutes. I'm going to need that $40, sir.
All right. Yeah, of course. And then you were saying beyond the tech shop, which I guess we were partners in the tech shop at one point.
Yeah.
And Scott and I have been
important.
friends. Scott built our website. He was the second person, but the first real person to get a hold of our website for Marco's Vapor. And
that newsletter, baby. That thing's going strong, Brad.
Yes.
Oh man, you guys took that over very well. I'm so glad to see that that's running. I was very proud of you guys. And then you tweaked up the image layouts too. I really like that a lot.
The newsletter's been Kurt's baby lately.
Nice, no way.
And he does a bang-up job. But yes, Scott introduced the newsletter concept, the texting and emails, a lot of things, honestly. I'm sure.
Order online, delivery, and shipping.
Online, yeah. Like, he was the original guy who set it up. And, then we got into business. He actually opened a tech shop, him in Servando.
Yep.
And that's Revival Tech. And then we became involved in that. That was cool. Parted ways, as far as that business goes, but obviously we remained friends. And
yeah, man, we both got super busy, bro. That was like when, because you'd helped us really like stand up on our legs, and that's what I really appreciated about you coming in and being a helpful friend / business like friend partner. And then that's like when we really kind of started picking up at the shop for the first time ever. And then you had just gotten ready to open up that second store, and like we were both just like, oh my gosh, too many things going on, holy bananas.
yeah, there's a lot going on for both of us. Always.
Yeah. Especially back then. I mean, things feel wild now, but they were also wild back then.
Isn't it funny when you look back and you're like, wait, how much tape and glue did I have on this? Like, what? I look back now and I'd make fun of myself. What the frick?
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yep. Absolutely.
Learning every year, and then we go through situations like the current one with Corona and just this business adaptation. You're busier. We've adapted our business to now look a little bit more like your business as far as online and taking advantage of technology, which is interesting. And it's always adapting, and we're learning so many new things every day. Like I never.
Yeah.
Before this, I spent the day delivering juice, and I never thought that a year ago that I'd be delivering juice or before that, but it's just literally adapting to the situation and thriving, surviving, and serving our customers. I'm sure you guys feel the same way.
There's been a lot of changes extremely fast is kind of one of the distinguishing differences between this epidemic or pandemic and previous really anything to my like current memory, like Marco said, switching gears like that and just opening a delivery service again. That's a lot going on, all in, just the same week that found out we had to not be open for curbside. There's just so much to adapt to so fast, and it's interesting to see what everybody else is doing about it as well, because it's not exactly super unique for that to happen with what's going on lately. So
right, man?
With that being said, it's really good to hear that you're picking up, and things have got to be going pretty good for the tech end of things. There's a ton of adaptation that is going on for everybody that's involved in any type of school. That's got to be something really good you've got going on lately, I bet. With increasing telecommunications and stuff like we're doing now, where we're face to face, but we're not. It's definitely the right direction.
Oh, absolutely, man. And I think that's what's that's what at the end of the day ends up setting aside, the winners from the losers, right? Or who can adapt the fastest and, the most efficient. And, if you don't roll with the times, man, then you just kind of become outdated, and then you're left in the dust eventually. And, we've seen a lot of companies go the way of the dodo because they were, too stubborn to switch over to things, man. That was kind of like always my sad gripe about Radio Shack. And I thought they should try to shift to something more online sales or something and blended this, in-person experience to keep around.
When it gets that big, because, folks can fuck around way more than us little guys can with everything. But, yeah.
How have you adapted your business? So it's if you want to explain exactly what you guys do at Revival Tech, and then explain, how you guys have adapted to, take on the new customers and all that.
Yeah, man. So we haven't had to change too much as far as, our actual functions. Just kind of like doing the average, trying to get a little bit better with organizations and procedures and whatnot to keep things to be on time. The biggest one that we did recently is I decided it was time to introduce a de-corona zone. So I busted out a table and set up a de-corona table where we're going to be a little bit more practicing of distancing and of cleanliness, so that when you come in, you can drop the device down, step back, chill on the couch. We can clean up the device, inspect it. We can get your instant quote.
Instead of gauges, you have tiny microphones / speakers, right? The size of your gauge.
Right?
So it's like the Bluetooth thing that people put on their ears, but it's a gauge, so you look like Scott.
And it's not like ear damaging. It's like just a speaker, like right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Run it.
But now you got to gauge your ears to be a part of that movement.
Oh, that's when the gaugers win. You know,
that's commitment.
You had to want it.
Right. You want these Bluetooth, bro? It's going to be like 6 months of stretching your ear out like a crazy son of a bitch. Yes, it hurts.
Yeah. The gauge people had it right all along.
Right. That's always the first question. People are like, does that hurt? I'm like, well, not now, but like when I forced it to be a gigantic hole, yeah, that did hurt.
Yeah, that seems like something that any way you do it is gonna fucking hurt.
Stretching and tearing.
Then it heals up and you're all good, but like, yeah, that shit hurt. Yeah.
Okay, Bitcoin perspective, because we actually didn't get that. So overall, Scott, where did we leave off? Tell us what
that's what I was gonna say.
Tell us
how do we like smooth back into it? Like where were?
Let's pretend that we got our history over with, and now tell us what you guys are doing at Revival, like what you repair and roughly what your day looks like.
What?
No, like what you guys repair at Revival. So like,
yeah, like what's like the day to day for you?
Like you guys repair tablets, phones, etc. You also do website stuff.
Yep.
Okay. So do you want to go over that at all?
I'm not sure where to hop in on that one for some reason. I'm not.
What services and products do you guys offer?
What's the hot move? What's everybody want? Is it screen repair? Is it like clean my PC? Is it like what?
It's the work from home stuff now, right?
For sure. So like our most popular service at the shop, man, is a full maintenance tune-up. And that's where we like just clean out everything, dirt, dust, and debris. We do what I call like an oil change. And, we try to keep the machine running healthy by breathing. It's very much like you. If you got all dirty and filled with, dirt, dust, and debris, and you couldn't breathe that well, you'd kind of start, hurting yourself, and you might lose your life expectancy, right? So we try to open them up and help the computers breathe again. And then like a car, there's a cooling paste that we can swap out and freshen up. After about a year or two, it generally kind of dries up and becomes crusty and doesn't do a good job of transferring heat. So we replace that with third party or aftermarket kind of like cooling paste, and that'll help keep the machine cool, which helps a little bit with performance, but also it's really good for longevity. In my 18 years of computers, I've gotten great results from that, man, and just kept my machine super duper long. And then after the last year when the prices just fell out the floor with SSDs, that's the other one, man, that I started actually twisting the arm on, because we pride ourselves on being a no pressure repair shop. So I'm not going to be real pushy sales on you. I'm just here to kind of be your personal tech guy. You got a doctor, you got a dentist, you got a mechanic. It's 2020. Where the hell are tech guys? So I just wanted to have a shop where, you weren't the traditional phone carrier store or, some of those, other maybe franchisee kind of repair spots where it's they're not really interested in creating a personable experience with you. It's very, hey, give me the money. I did this thingy. Thank you. See you. Goodbye. Sure, maybe they're chummy and stuff, but we're really trying to get to know you. I really want to know what makes you, Marco and Kurt, tick, and what do you do? What kind of person are you? And then now I know how to make a little bit more of a personable experience for the devices that I recommend or the things that I do for you. I already know that Marco's, right-handed. I'll set something up a little bit like this, or, I already know that Marco doesn't mess with gaming. So when I get him a laptop, I'm not really worried about making sure it has a dedicated GPU. And that's something that'll allow me to maybe cut a corner and then save you a little bit of cost. So very often I get the question of hey, what computer do you guys have there? I'm going to get a computer. And I go, whoa there. I'm a little bit different. I'm trying to be your personal tech guy. So I just wasn't a real big fan of retail and having something sit on the shelf to where that's dropping in value. And it's in my best interest to pawn it off on somebody, even though it might not be the best, right? I'm more into like having a talk with you and figuring out something where I can check all of your boxes, but you didn't pay extra for some features that you're never going to freaking use, you know? Or if you are like, hey, I don't want to spend this much money, and I tell you, but if we can, you know, spend a little bit more, I can get you a backlit keyboard. That's something that nobody would have effing mentioned at a big box store. They just would have been like, yeah, here, buy that one. How many money you want to spend? Because you walk in as a consumer just wanting to price shop. Yo, look, dude, I'm only spending $400 on this computer. Give me a computer. And they go, cool, this one, here, buy. I go, well, are you interested in a backlit keyboard? And you go, huh, shit, man, you know, I never really thought about that. What is this backlit keyboard? I go, hey, you can actually see the keyboard when it gets a little bit dark. Do you ever like, you know, type at night on your, you know, couch when you're like watching Netflix or something? And you're like, damn, you're right. And then I go, hey, well, so $75 more. And then you're like, yeah, F it. Here's the $75. That is a value that actually translates to being worthwhile for you spending that money. So
you've got
a big
that value of recommendation, and that's something that a lot of consumers have so many options. Like, how many different laptops, smartphones, smartwatches, goddamn Segways, whatever the hell syncs up to the damn internet anymore can you buy? And it's really important to, like, you know, assess people and understand what the hell they're trying to accomplish by, you know, increasing tech in this way, that way, or the other way. So, you know, that's a great niche to, you know, keep working on and expanding, in my opinion, for the end consumer. You know, that, again, that value of recommendation, that's hard to beat. You know, we see that even in, you know, pretty much anything that we retail, you know.
Oh, well, I was going to say, dude, this is a huge prop for you guys, because this is how I met you, bro. I freaking went into the shop after trying to hop around to the other shops, which were the franchise shops in town. And I landed on you because Kurt actually gave a shit about my needs. Kurt gave a shit about what flavors I liked. And then Kurt goes, oh, hey, dude, you like this and that? Hold on. Let me like scrounge. Like, hold on. I'm going to go in the back. And then, hey, bro, check this out. I think you'd really like this one. Why? Because you listened, you gave a shit, and then you matched up what you know that I have no idea about with what I told you. And that's why I really cherished, you know, your knowledge and found value in you guys. And as I kept coming back, the rest of your staff and you yourself were always about trying to meet people's needs and not just kind of like hawk something off on them and be like, yeah, you need to buy the $400 vape because that's the shit, man. I got a killer profit margin on this. No, it's like, hey, look, dude, yeah, you only, like, you know, vape on the effing weekends. Yeah, you know, like, just buy this $100 one, dude, and you know, you're going to be totally great. Yeah, you know, you can go to the gas station or the other shop and get a $60 one, but if you blow $40 more, it's going to last you longer or be a little more durable or yada, yada, yada. And that's what I really liked about you guys. And I think why we got along in the early days and into now, man. We have a very same kind of like idea on taking care of the customer.
Our business model is almost identical when it comes to that, taking care of the customer. The customer's not always right, but the customer's almost always right.
Absolutely.
And don't until they're wrong, and then it's like, get out of here.
And you know,
and then it's like, calm down.
As a responsible salesperson, to really not sell somebody technology that they don't need.
Exactly.
I feel like a lot of that happens.
Neither of us, and I don't know exactly how you do business, but I know you, and knowing you, I can't imagine that you or Servando oversell your customers.
Right.
We all are suggestive salesmen, but we're not pushy. But we're also, you know, we make sure that we're a wealth of knowledge, or whoever's handling the customer is a wealth of knowledge, so that, you know, a bad upsalesman will suggest an upsell, but then not back it up. They'll have
suggest a not worthwhile upsell.
They'll have nothing else to back it up. Whereas if you say get the light up keyboard and they have questions about that, you can tell them most details about that, you know, and then if they decide they want it, they can get it through you.
Absolutely. That's how it happens all the time, man. So then bringing it back around, that's what's happening with freaking SSDs right now. We're still going through like a transitional period where a lot of people are bringing in Windows 7 and Windows 8 machines that have a traditional spin drive. You know, that shit that goes click, 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 you know, and you actually used to hear the hard drive, right? Well, last year, the price is just like cut in half for SSDs. So that's a big one. So you come in and you got an old laptop and I go, hey, man, it's going to be $150 to clean it up. And you're like, yeah, no big deal. I can do $150. I explained it all, and you go, yep, that sounds like a good value to, like, breathe some fresh air and life into this machine. And then I hit you with, yeah, but you should drop another $85 on a 500 gig hard drive. And you say, but why? My hard drive's not bad. And I go, yeah. So it may not be dying, but if we put this SSD in, you're going to have 10 times the speed. And then you're like, wow, this old computer feels like a whole new computer. So now you just have an entirely different experience about getting that computer fixed up for only another $85, man. And then that's saving you blowing an additional $300 to $500 on getting a new computer that runs like what we just upgraded it to.
Yep. And you guys are very much like that. And I actually do know that firsthand from when you guys taught me how to do tune-ups even. Because mentioning tune-ups, I think a lot of people don't know.
You used to do tune-ups?
I did a tune-up or two.
Revival Tech?
Literally, one or two.
Another thing I always appreciated about
Marco wanted to be hands-on. I know he wanted to get over there and adjust a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Got a headphone out.
And I'm still not quite don't have the hang of tech.
Yeah, no, not at all. But
podcast noob.
Yeah, I'm still learning how to use earphones.
Right.
Tune-up wise, a lot of people don't know the value of a tune-up, but like you said, it's cleaning out your computer. And the ones that I saw you guys do, and the one or two that I did, full of dust, and the cooling paste is gone. So like you could tell when you reapply it that it needed it. And,
right.
And all that stuff. You guys even showed me small repairs and stuff, but even like the tune-up is really important just for proper maintenance, like changing the oil in your car. The whatever you guys charge, the $150. Obviously depending on what you have into the computer and what you're using the computer for and how long it is or how old it is, 100% worth it. That's something that just a lot of people don't know as far as like regular computer maintenance.
Yep, and then similarly, when you get when you meet up with like a continued service kind of guy, the first one is where I'm like, yeah, look, man, we don't know you yet, and you probably never did anything with your computer, so here's the high full maintenance tune-up guy. But then the idea is to come in every year or two, and I'm only charging you like, $75 to do like the quick job, because we don't need to do the whole holy bananas. Because the full tune-up is not just the inside. We're also going to back up all of your important data, and we're just going to clear the drive. We're going to scan everything for health, make sure everything's good, reinstall Windows on the latest version to get rid of any possible glitches from doing the updates and whatnot over like years. And then we'll put your files back on there and help you reinstall any programs that you'd had. And that way, it's just kind of like a full start from fresh, which ends up kind of cutting out a lot of time that you end up needing to like hunt down a trail of trying to like clear out somebody's viruses or clean up a mess that has been made. Very often I feel the old school traditional tech guy goes, oh, poo, just starting from fresh. That's lazy. That's not tech guy. And so for a very long time, I was like that. But after a while, you kind of realize, at what cost, because 90% of the time you're just going down a trail, and then you end up spending too much time, and you're not going to be able to stay in business that way. So it's also a good way to just kind of, hey man, if you're a first-time client or a first-time machine, this is kind of where we start. We get started with a full maintenance, and then we'll go from there. And it's not going to be like full 150 every single time I see you. The idea is to kind of like knock out a big chunk here, so we have a control to start from moving into the future. And then, because my whole idea at the shop is you got a personal tech guy, now I kind of got an idea of like what we've done with your computer. So now when you call, Servando answers and goes, oh yeah, well, I know you were working with Scott, so like, hold on. And now you're not going to have to repeat your story. I'm going to know what programs you asked me to put on there. I'm going to be like, oh, hey, Marco, how's QuickBooks running, buddy? Because I know that was a big pain in the booty when we were setting that. And you're like, oh, yeah, actually, blah, blah. That's what I'm calling you for. Mm-hmm. And then that way you're not doing as much like repeating. You're not.
The case. Yep.
Yeah, we're a little bit already like fast forwarded,
it saves time, and then again with the tune-up thing or all the suggestions that you make in the upsells ultimately save time and money down the road. And that's kind of like the honest like you, would you say earlier the shitty business,
The terrible businessman model.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, but that's how we are. And
I can hear it.
with both of us, you really need a lot of trust, like for us, you need trust to trust us to get you off cigarettes or whatever the case is, or to sell you good product and not over nicotine you. For
You're ingesting something, yeah.
Yeah, for you, obviously, there's an insane amount of trust. People are giving you their personal technology, sometimes their whole lives, all of their pictures, personal data, and they're trusting you to handle that well. But also, if you upsell them, don't overcharge them. If they need $75 worth of work, don't charge them for $200 worth of work. It's like a mechanic or like anyone else. There's a huge amount of trust, and I think for both of us, if you experience our customer service from one of the first times, you can kind of see that we establish that relationship and build that trust.
Oh gosh, yeah, man. It's basically like what the hard side is. I want you coming back and spending money residually. I don't want to just burn you out once and see you later. Exactly. And then the friendly side is I want you to come back because I like friends and I have to work to make a living. And the only way I get to see friends is if you come into my store and let me help you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and you guys, like any successful business, have adapted and come out with new policies and procedures to accommodate your customers, and it's really respectable, man. I know firsthand, and I know you know very well how hard the tech industry, I say tech industry, but I guess the tech repair industry is, for me seeing that and having my other business experience, I will say that's a very difficult business, and you guys have made it, and you have a good name.
Dude, 2019 was wild. Here's an interesting one, man. And this is a great business lesson. If anybody's thinking about starting a business listening right now, don't pigeonhole yourself into one thing, man. You got to diversify and have multiple flipping revenue streams and services. For instance, last year,
how many you can have.
We did no phone screen repairs, man. In the scheme of things, just jack diddly. And everybody goes, why, man? You weren't marketing enough. You guys aren't popular enough. You don't do a good enough job. And I'm like, whoa there. I call around and I talk to other phone repair places, and I talk to the guys that are trying to buy broken screen repairs, and they confirm that no, everybody's doing horrible. It's a horrible phone screen repair year, and there's a whole bunch of phone screen repair shops shutting down. Well, then I got to thinking, well, what happened last year, man? All those phones were bangers, man. You had the iPhone 11, you had the iPhone Pro Plus, and what were those, dude? For the first time, that was a tick-tock. So before, it was known as TikTok, right? So you'd have a 6, and then the 6S was the fixed, we fixed all the little quirks of the 6, right? And before that, you had the 5, and then the 5S, the 4, the 4S, right? The 7 and the 8 were kind of new, but what was the 10? The 10 was holy bananas. It was full screen phone and, the gesture navigation, no home button. And then they had the 10S, and that was kind of the same thing, but just polished. And then they had the 11 and the Pro. That was the same shit as the 10, just the third time really cleaned up, right? So those phones were crushing it. And then what? It was the S10, Samsung S10, S10 Plus, S10e, crushing it. And then also you have the 11 and the S10e. Those are the small middle-class guy phone, because the Pro's $1,000, $1,200 or whatever. The S10 Plus is $1,000, $1,200, whatever. The S10e and the 11, $700. So, hey, I got a broken screen. It's a Samsung. Samsungs are really cool and the screens look really neat, but you know what sucks? Looking really neat is expensive. So now you come in and I go, yeah, so that Samsung Galaxy S9 screen is $198 and that labor is $80. So we're talking $280 altogether here. And they're like, yeah, I'm going to go below $700 on a phone because they're going to put it on a contract. And then I'm only going to pay $10 in the store. So,
yep.
And I think 2019,
when you can just upgrade to a maybe slightly more polished version or whatever.
And we're all consumers taught to, buy now, pay later in America.
And 2019 was that year where there was just a bunch of banger phones, just really good phones, and there was not much to repair.
I think so,
dude,
man.
I got my Note 9 like the first day of 2019. Dude, that thing is so sweet. Like
that one's a dope one too, dude. Note 9, yeah.
You know, I know that the 10 dropped a few months later or whatever, but like no complaints in the intermediary. You know, everything on it almost entirely works perfect.
So
battery life, can't complain.
So back to the business nimble. This being a thing in 2019, I start getting worried. I'm like, oh shit, there's like, one entire department that's hurting. What are we going to do? And, who like, depending on what side of the like prayer universe circle you're on, magically, all of a sudden we're super popular and recommended by GameStop for game system repair. All of a sudden we start getting a whole bunch of PS4s in. All of a sudden I start, wait a second, I'm going to start advertisement for PS4 repair. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, what do you know now? Fast forward 6-8 months, dude, we are like the number one spot in town for game system repair right now. I swear to goodness, everybody and their mom just sends people to us for PS4 and Xbox repair, man. Right now, we're the only people in town doing the actual micro soldering in-house. Everybody else has to send it out to another store or outsource it to a whole different company. And now that means your Xbox is getting in somebody's car and going over to some other store. They're not putting it in like a shipment, they're not shipping it. And then now you got to wait for them, and then they got to do it over in blah, blah, So right now we're the only people where me and Servando, the two guys that own and run the shop, are the guy that are physically doing the HDMI micro solder repair on your PS4 or your Xbox.
Oh.
And that's really cool because then you get to talk to the person. We can explain it to you better. And you feel like, a little bit more taken care of.
You tell me no one else in town micro solders, as far as phone repair.
So I'm like super biased, obviously, but from what I've heard, people come to me and I've maybe made a few calls around to see what's going on. And
of course.
Nobody else really does any micro soldering, man. It's pretty hardcore. And then what it really comes down to, in my humble opinion, just like anything, once you figure it out, it's really easy. But figuring it out is very hard. Right. And with micro soldering, there's like no margin of error. And that error, when done, is retardedly expensive. Like mess up on that Galaxy Note 9, bro. Right. Now you're buying a $1,000 phone. Because you messed up a freaking $80 solder repair.
Yeah.
No businessman wants to trust some kid that he just hired, and he's trying to teach him phone repair. He don't want to trust that kid to do solder repair.
That's a very
so it's very
skill.
It's a very costly skill to figure out.
Right. And so it's very difficult to find somebody that has that kind of skill set, but is willing to take what are you? You're a technician. Are you a low level guy? Are you a mid level? High level. So in our town, it just so happens there's not a lot of board repair, man. Not a lot of micro soldering going on.
Yeah, so if anyone micro solders in town, it's maybe for a different purpose, and then they're not as known for it. They haven't done as many phones as you guys, because I know you guys have just been steady at it for how many years now?
What I was saying right now we're doing is game system repair for the micro soldering mostly. It's like everybody jacks their HDMI up. I don't know why. We do like freaking 5 to 10 a week right now. It's crazy. Like somebody's cat knocks off the PS4 off the shelf and ejects the HDMI,
So was I misspeaking saying micro soldering for phones? Do you guys hardly do that at all? Or do you guys...
That died down ridiculously in 29 as well, man. So we were doing that
for game systems.
We were doing that a whole bunch in 2017, 2018. In 2019, just like phone repair, just fell off, man.
Interesting.
Yep. Wow. So I don't know if like the other phone guys are really picking it up, stealing up that business.
Yeah. I was going to say as well that, everything for us in our business, any business, especially any mom and pop, it really depends on what's going on in the area and, the demographic and all that. So I don't know exactly what years, you'd probably know better, but definitely around the 2018, 2019 area, there was numerous phone repair tech shops that popped up, chains and local. I don't know how they're doing now. I really haven't kept up on them, but it got saturated a couple years ago, wouldn't you say?
Oh, dude, that was before we started, bro. Because where I got started at was certified phone repair, man. And I got in there And it was just a business guy that he'd worked for, Verizon Wireless, and he was like, a supervisor, like middle management, district manager or something like that. And he just saw some good money in like starting up a cell phone store because that was the boom, like 2014, 2015. So I started working there. And he had 2 kids that were just basically like giving it all to him for free, like helping the guy build this business, thought they were going to get taken care of. Well, a year later, they go for raise time, and he was like, yeah, dude, so a year in, I kind of know what I'm doing. And I kind of talked to like other cell phone business owners now, and I was paying you way too much, guys. Sorry, no raise. And that's when I kind of stepped in and was like, hey, guys, I don't know if he's going to be like the best boss, but you guys should be a little bit more careful about just telling him how to do all of this, how to run a business and how to do all this tech repair stuff. So that's when they kind of decided to look for other jobs, and they got out of there. And that's when I kind of became the lead technician there. So I was running his store, and it was the cell phone pop-up, bro. It was just booming. Well, we weren't seeing eye to eye, and he wasn't looking to hire a manager at the local store. He wanted to get like one manager that would manage all 4 of his stores. And that's just like wasn't how I believed. Kind of like how I was talking earlier. I think you should be very personable with your store and your location and your customers, right? So that's when I had met Vondo working at the shop, and he was taking a business class. And so I would ask him, like, hey man, how's your day going? What's going on? So he showed me a mock business plan for a phone repair store. And that's when I said, hey man, I think this guy's probably going to keep just, doing his best at, not overpaying us and not giving us all the right tools and the amenities that we kind of believe should do as a tech guy. How about we take this business plan, bro, and make this a reality? And so that's when we got things set up and started in 2016. And that's when we made the leap into the whole entrepreneurial bit. And that was the like holy bananas, like leapfrog off the two part-time jobs, trying to make amends into the one business. And fast forward, bro, he sold the company, moved back to Michigan where he was from. 2 of the stores dropped off. I don't know if they folded up or if somebody else got them, because the manufacturers don't want you preparing that phone. So let's just hit on the worst of all, freaking Apple, the biggest sham of all. Ooh. Drink of the sham Kool-Aid, if you will.
You're preaching over here.
Apple makes so many things that are designed literally to be a booby trap and an over difficulty, a complete impossible thing that you could ever imagine, to where the third party guy either can't do it or it's infeasible, and now the user gets screwed. So the whole goal of Apple is they want to make all of the money. It's evil genius business. Mm-hmm. So if they make proprietary fasteners, I need special tools. You need special tools. You're not about to buy special tools for like one-off repair. So now you want to come to me. Well, then I want to do something to the phone, but now it needs to be certified. Now the part is detected as bad. So for instance, last year, Apple got caught with their pants down, slowing down your phone if it detects an old bad battery. Well, how long do batteries last?
About 3,000 charge cycles.
I'm gonna go
in time. How long would you think, as a regular Joe, how long do you think a battery lasts?
Before significant decline in life, maybe a year.
And that's because you have vape battery knowledge, right? Average Joe's like, wait, there's a battery in this thing? I can't pull it out. Verizon told me there wasn't a battery in there. And you're like, what? So after a year, your battery is bad, and then the phone slows down. What else happens after a year? The new phone comes out. So people's logic go, well, it couldn't be the battery that I don't really know about. It must just be my phone sucks. Phones only last a year. Well, come to find out, if you put a new battery in there, the phone starts working just as fast as it did before. Whoa. And you don't have to charge it as often.
And you've done that?
several times over.
Whoa.
Wait,
Bro, it's
reiterate that?
$50 to get a new
the
battery.
phone functions faster?
Say that again. Say what happens.
It literally works faster. So they got caught slowing your phone down because, okay, think about it like this, right? So your battery is at 100% capacity. So it goes 100% processor, right? And then your battery is at 80% capacity. And it goes, well, if we do 100% processor, your battery is going to die faster because it has less capacity. So let's slow down your processor to 80%. And then now you'll get the same battery life that you're used to, but not the same speed that you're used to.
And they didn't clearly express that?
Like not clearly. They just didn't.
Not clearly.
Like they just didn't express that. And so do you know how it got caught? Some geek bench nerds, so you can run a benchmark on your phone to like test performance. They were wondering, hey, why does like all of the iPhones, like the performance drops off, over the years of people running these benchmarks? And then somebody goes, hey, I wonder what would happen if we threw a new battery in there. They did it, and the performance went back up to almost exactly what it was when the phone literally came out. Like, what?
I remember that story. Was that a college or something? Like it was just a group of dudes or something?
No. It was actually like a phone benchmarking software. So they were just looking for some content. And so they were like, well, let's take a look at all the benchmarks over the years of this iPhone 5S. And we'll, make an article about this or something. And then somebody said, well, let's put a new battery in it and see how it runs. And then they went light bulb. And then it talk about content, man. Talk about content.
Wow. They got caught with their pants down. So,
bro.
So you would say like
did they catch anybody else, or are we still?
Would you say that largely the Apple is responsible for trying to decimate the cell phone repair industry?
Like single-handedly, bro. It's insane, man. If you flick back through my my revival page, this guy Louis, he's a repair guy out in New York, and he's got a buttload of followers on YouTube. I think he just finally hit the milli. But he is the #1 dude for exposing the sham of Apple, dude. It's absolutely ridiculous. He literally even has gotten the last year, he's gotten to the point where he does like the secret cam, and he'll have friends go in there, play dummy, and record the whole thing. And the genius, because they have the genius bar, the genius is like, okay, yeah, this device, this laptop that's not charging. Yeah, you're going to need a motherboard repair. The motherboard's like $450. The diagnostics is like $70. We have to ship it. So that's like $30. And, you probably need like a new battery, because if you got a new motherboard, the battery won't be paired with that motherboard. Like, what? That's not a thing. And then it's like, oh, it's a $900 repair. When Louis Rossmann is a knowledgeable effing smart person who figured out, oh, if you understand electronics, you can just touch this one and determine that this little thing is dead. And then so I can take another motherboard. Oh, you can't find pieces, by the way, because Apple makes sure that all of their suppliers, they buy the remainder of all the pieces. So Apple just puts it in a stock room so that nobody can have those pieces to repair things. But you got a dead board, like something else is wrong. So you use it as a donor, and then you graft that little piece off onto that board, and it starts charging again. And that's like a $125 service as opposed to a $900. And then they try to talk like they're all ecological and eco-friendly and woo, wow, we're using recyclable parts and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they're using recyclable parts because they're lying to you and telling you need a whole new effing motherboard. And then they send that back to the factory. They fix that one little doohickey. And then they come back and sell you the $400 refurbished motherboard.
But
dude, it's sham, bro. Sham-ola.
Recycling to save money, and they should probably pass those savings on realistically, but at least
then you wouldn't become the first $1 trillion company if you did that, though.
Yeah, you're right.
Are they the first $1 trillion company, or you?
They were the first.
Does Jeff Bezos own the world yet? So the answer to that is almost.
Almost.
I just want.
He's gonna fight with George Soros, though. George Soros is probably the biggest contender.
I don't know. Bezos got him physically for. Well, Soros
Oh
can't
no,
get it.
dude, Bezos ain't nothing compared to Soros, bro. Soros just melt down countries. Dude, Soros will go in there, he'll devalue an entire country's currency and then just crap all over them and then come in and then charge them to fix the country.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just I was joking about them bare knuckling, you know. I said,
Nice.
you know, Jeff could probably take them.
Nice.
Share your thoughts on cryptocurrency. I mean, break it down for dummies.
So why should you, yes, you, why should you go look up and figure out what the hey a Bitcoin is? Do you know why? Because Bitcoin was invented and released by an anonymous random nobody that nobody knows into the world in 2009. What was 2009 1 year after? 2008 lending crash. Well, in the code of Bitcoin in the beginning, it literally states something, you know, not verbatim, but to the effect of, I hope that this potentially replaces centralized currency and helps people become a little bit more free and have a control of their money as opposed to not. Well, fast forward, we've had an 11-year bull market from 2009 to 2020, 2019, whatever we're going to call it, right? 11-year bull market. And now it's time for a collapse. Well, Bitcoin is here for the first time ever because Bitcoin wasn't here for the '08 crash. And what happened? 2008, we provided a stimulus package where people got $300 to $400 checks. Nobody remembers that. Nobody's talking about that. Everybody's shocked that there's a stimulus package now and people are getting free money. This is crazy. I can't believe this. Well, bro,
time.
like just look back in effing history. History always repeats
Not even
itself,
like
right?
old history.
A decade ago, a little over.
You lived through it, God darn it. Like, I think Obama was the guy handing out the checks. Like, so that money that we're printing out is literally a centralized, controlled private company. Sure, they're, you know, hand in hand with the government. And they kind of get some governmental powers, but they're a private entity, the Federal Reserve. They print money. They trade it with the government for other printed thingies they call bonds. And now debt is created. So the entire financial backing of America is based on debt, no longer on gold. So there is nothing holding a value in this money. So to make more sense, we'll just use current explanations. But literally, wait, did you hear that? Wait, did you hear that? Wait, did you hear that? Okay. Oh, that's the money printer going brr, 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 because every second there's $1 million being printed right now.
Send it.
Just being printed out of thin air, man. Just money printer go
doesn't inflate a market, does it?
So think about it like this, man. If you know we got like $1,000, right? And each of us has 333.33, right? And then all of a sudden we print another $1,000 and Marco gets it. Now Marco has $1,333. Now before we all had 1/3 of our world's net value. Now Marco has far more of that. And because Marco owns the money printer, he gets to go, who gets it? Who gets the extra money? So me and you now only have whatever the hell the percent breaks down to. Let's say like, you know, we got like 13% of the value, right? So wait, we went from 33% of the value to only 13. So that's kind of like you robbed the value of my money without having to physically touch me. That's genius.
And guess what happens to the price of the vape I'm selling? Goes up.
Because now there's more money in the market. Yeah. So that's why everybody gets really titillated from, you know, oh, I'm going to get a check. And it sounds like some woo-woo magical bullshit. But unfortunately, that Band-Aid is not going to help too much, right? So let's reverse back to what the F Bitcoin is here for. So Bitcoin is an immutable, decentralized, global, digital, secure, cryptographic software technology that we could call money. So all money is something that we kind of decide is what we're going to use to trade for a good or a service, right? Like we could use bud, we could use beer, we could use pens, like go back to ancient Egypt, right? How did the pyramid guys allegedly get paid? They got paid in beer. They were just like, here's beer, bro. And the guy was like, oh, thank God. Yes, thank God. And like, I will come back to work tomorrow. Thank God. Side note, did you know that the original Egypt beer recipe was an antibiotic?
Antibiotic?
They recreated this ancient beer recipe they found on some, and it had an antibiotic in it. It was as though a penicillin. And it was far more nutritious back then. So drinking beer wasn't like a recreational side hobby. It was literally a food and a medicine.
Yeah.
Like a kombucha almost.
Yeah.
Allegedly, man. Yeah. Somebody fact check me on that shit. Hit me up if I'm wacko. So anyway, so this Bitcoin software is like websites back in the day. You know, it's like your debit card back in the day. It's like checks back in the day. It's like the car back in the day, man. Like when fucking cars came out, do you know what everybody said? They said, I will never use that. You know why? Because I can't afford that ridiculously expensive mechanical object. What are mechanics? I don't know. Where am I going to get gasoline? What if my tire pops? Who's going to help me, man? I got to make it in the cold from this town to that town? No. I'm going to stick with my tried and true and trusty horse and buggy in my carriage. I know that guy gets me from here to there. I got food set up for him. He eats it. He walks me. I pick up his poop. We got a happy deal here. I don't need a car, right? Fast forward, we got money. You got checks now. And then grandma goes, I'm not using that debit card. That's how they hackers get you. I'm using my checks, darn it. Fast forward, email comes out. Hey, look, dude, I'm not blowing $2,000 and I'm going to buy this stupid this box that does computer stuff. And then I'm going to buy like a phone line and I'm going to hook up like dial up. And I got to like figure out the dial up program to make it like go blah, 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 blah. And then I got to like download SMTP and set up a POP3 mail server. And I got to like, no, dude, I'm going to stick to the tried, true and trusty USPS, the Postal Service, sir. Because when I put an effing stamp on it, it gets to you. So no, dude, you know how long it took email to become a thing and like everybody used it? 35 years.
Jeez.
So fast forward, we're in Bitcoin world now, right? So Bitcoin could be something that we call money. Now, one of the real cool things about Bitcoin is unlike money printer going with the Federal Reserve, Bitcoin is capped at only 21 million. There's only ever going to be 21 million. That's all that will ever exist. Now they're coming out,
Scott.
That it's just the rules. So like, you know, you
out of
couldn't.
money.
It's possible because numbers are infinite.
Aren't we going to run out of Bitcoin?
That's what's tricky, man, is, you know, hypothetically, there's a day where, you know, we're trading 0.000001 of Bitcoin for a sandwich. But then that's where like valuations need to get all altered again.
And that's where altcoins come in, right?
So
possibly.
Let me ask you this. Is it possible for like Bitcoin to do some type of a split to accommodate that?
So it wouldn't necessarily be accommodating that. Where Bitcoin comes into a split is the democratics of it. So we say how Bitcoin works is there's only a 2 meg block size, right? And you, Marco, say, well, I think it should have a 4 megabyte block size because then we could put more transactions in that block. And don't you want more transactions in each block? Each block takes 10 minutes to get born. Like if we could pack more transactions in a block, we could get more things done, right? Well, I go, no, dude. The way the code was written originally, it works with only 2 megs and it'll scale, but you just have to be patient. And you disagree. So now you write code for 4 megabytes. And then you say, I'm going to use it over here. Who else was with me? Now, 60% say, I'm going to stay with regular Bitcoin. 40% go, I like Marco's Bitcoin. That's what Bitcoin Cash is. So Bitcoin Cash is a fork of Bitcoin where that's some of the original Bitcoin code but some of it's been modified now. So it isn't original Bitcoin. It's its own thing. And to the Bitcoin, true tried and old school OG people, Bitcoin Cash is a cash grab. That guy just wanted to make a company called Bitcoin Cash and trick people into putting money into his currency that he actually has a little bit more of a centralized control of. If we go back to regular Bitcoin,
essentially.
Right. Yeah. And that's where a lot of all the other ones people kind of poo-poo. Like the second largest is Ethereum. Well, Ethereum they've done a few centralized moves in the past, and people don't like that because they believe that the point of cryptocurrency is to be non-centralized and not do things with only one person making that decision.
That's exactly the point of it, I think. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
in the early days of Ethereum, there was a hacker that actually hacked a whole bunch of Ethereum, which was worth money. And the CEO and the team made an executive decision to roll back the whole network to act like that hack never happened. But technically, that's against the whole point of crypto. The point of crypto is it happened. Right. You just got to move forward, dude.
Right. Even if it's for the betterment of the currency, you really shouldn't be turning back time. It's like literally going in a time machine and going back in time and tweaking one thing. Like you really shouldn't be able to do that.
Does the creation
Ethereum Classic? So there is an old Ethereum Classic chain that exists, and some people believe in, but it is valued as far less because it doesn't have a big backing of people and a company. And now fast forward, Ethereum is the second largest cryptocurrency with a gigantic market cap, and its goal is to be a global supercomputer.
Whoa. Okay, and so a concept that I really like, my favorite concept about cryptocurrency, I guess Bitcoin specifically, because I know about Bitcoin, is that it is backed by computer work, by like basically when you say Bitcoin is backed by computers solving equations. So if computers aren't solving these algorithms or equations, then Bitcoin isn't created or mined. Is that correct?
So it's run by that. It is backed by scarcity mostly.
Okay.
So that's what I was getting at with the 21 million cap, right? So there's only ever going to be 21 million. That's just the way the guy wrote it. He could have said 48 million, okay? But he picked 21 million. That's it. Okay.
Dude picked that random number. That's it.
Well, I forget the reason, but it's not random. It's got some nerdism to it. Like there's a for that, right?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a reason. Yeah.
Does the creation of Bitcoin Cash detract from that 21 million total?
No, because the idea of Bitcoin and that code continues in its own trajectory. So nothing was altered by it. Bitcoin Cash decided to fork over and then just change one thing. So now it has a different timeline.
Is that another 21 trillion cap for Bitcoin Cash?
I believe so. I believe so. Yep. Or he might have like
made his own cap.
Right. So now here's a crazy thing. It's estimated that 6 million Bitcoin are lost. Forever. Just people, early days, they had their little private secret password and they threw it away in the garbage, right?
Lost forever, right?
Right. Like somebody had their super secret private key password on their hard drive, and then that computer got old. They threw it in the trash. That went to the electronic, recycling center. That hard drive got smashed, got a bullet put through it. Nobody will ever access that Bitcoin ever again. It's gone for forever. 6 million Bitcoin, completely untouchable, which means there will only ever be 15 million. Now, Kurt, I am curious, do you think that there is enough Bitcoins to go around for every millionaire on North America?
I guess
at current value,
there's only ever going to be 15 million. Do you think there's more or less than 15 million millionaires on North America?
More.
I would say probably more.
So As of now, with only estimated 6 million lost, who knows, there could be more lost. There's not enough one whole Bitcoins to go around for every millionaire on just one continent, let alone the world.
So each coin would have to be worth more than $1 million if it became actual currency.
It's pretty fucking scarce, right? It's pretty scarce.
But that's not factoring in altcoins, which...
Well, alt currency in general. Any other currency.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, that would be its own. So we're just talking about the economics of Bitcoin right now, right?
Bitcoin, right.
So my point is, if right now one Bitcoin is worth $6,800, if we all decided, yes, dude, this technology makes sense as the global money, we should all put our money into this, then you could own one Bitcoin right now. When this becomes popular and scarce and expensive, you're going to feel like a moron that you don't have 0.1 Bitcoin.
Right. Each Bitcoin will be worth $100 million or $100 million or whatever it would work out to globally.
Because what a lot of people don't know is you don't need to buy one whole Bitcoin like a stock. It goes down to the 8th decimal place. So you can buy 0.000, and you can get, $3 a Bitcoin, $10, $100 a Bitcoin. So what I tell people right now is my free I told you so advice is go make a Coinbase account and set up an auto pay or auto buy for like $10, whatever your butt can afford. $10, up it $50, whatever. Auto buy every month Bitcoin, because if you have any Bitcoin and this does become the asset class and the money of the world, its value is going to shoot up astronomically, and you holding on to a little part of it is going to make you a lot of money.
How likely do you think that is to happen, being realistic?
So that's the interesting thing, right? So now we bring it back to current times in a correlation with the Federal Reserve and the whole financial crisis collapsing around us, right? Now's as best of time as ever, right? So like our whole world has been kind of like connected and globalized with the internet.
Boogaloo?
You're right, bro. Right. So like right now, a lot of us are wondering, is everybody going to say, hey, I should move my money into this Bitcoin thingy because I got my wallet right here on a USB and that's my bank account. And I don't have to trust that MFer at the bank that said he had my money. But then when I went on there on Thursday, he said he didn't have any $100 bills. Do you know that you can walk into a bank right now and be told that they don't have any $100 bills?
Correct.
Do you know in January, they ran out of money to hold overnight because you're supposed to have 10% of your money that you say you have on a ledger. You're supposed to have 10% of that money in the safe. And that rule started in the Great Depression when everybody did a bank run and there was no money, right?
There's a name for it. I forget, but yeah.
Overnight lending.
Is that what it is?
So in January, the banks called up the Fed, which is mommy and daddy, and said, hey, yeah, we don't have enough money for overnight lending anymore. So I asked John across the street. He didn't have no money. I asked Bob. He didn't have no money. I asked Cindy. She didn't have no money. I'm really embarrassed. I know we're supposed to ask all of our other bank friends and we're supposed to just kind of toss money back and forth around. But can you print me some money, Mom? And in January, they fired up the money printer. And that's when they started printing money. Fast forward 3-4 months. Now we have a $6.2 trillion freaking stimulus bill that's just going to print $6.2 trillion into a market. So now let's come back to the global economics of USD money. It's said that in circulation, there are $75 trillion of USD money. Only 8.3% of that is represented physically with paper or coin. 8.7, 8.3, something like, let's say 9%, okay? 9% is represented physically with paper and coin. How can that be possible, guys?
Where's the rest of it?
Where the hell is the rest of it? Where did the 91% come from? Well, guess what? I got a really easy breakdown for you. Do you know how fractional reserve lending works?
No.
So I'm a fractional reserve bank. I'm a regular bank. I'm U.S. bank, right? Not like a, like a money, what is it called? The credit union or anything. I'm a regular big boy bank that operates on the Federal Reserve fractional reserve lending system. You come in and you deposit $100 in my bank because you feel unsafe holding your own $100. So my service is protecting your money because you suck at life. Or because life is so crazy that you can't possibly be that badass in life and protect yourself. So you want to store your money with me. Say, dude, I got you. Here's a little IOU. Don't worry. You go, sweet, I'm going home. And then Kurt walks up and goes, hey, man, do you got $90? And I go, whoa, wait a second. Let me look at the rules. Okay, so Marco gave me $100. I'm supposed to keep a fraction of it. What fraction? 10%. So I keep 10% and I put that in my safekeeping. The other 90%, I can keep that in the till. Yes, Kurt, I do have $90. One moment. Here is your $90. Now, Kurt, what do? You take that money and you put that shit in your bank. And they keep $9 in the safe. $81 is loaned out. That person puts it in the bank. $8.1 is kept in the safe. The rest is loaned out. Do you see what just happened?
So the
9 times that amount of money
to utilize the money stowed in them as an investment.
And
9%.
Now Marco comes back and goes, hey, dog, I need that $100. And I go, the Great Depression.
Yeah.
Scary and then you go, hey there, Kurt. Yeah, I'm going to need you to bring back that money you owe me, buddy. Yeah. No, like now. Yeah, no, like I'm going to come and take everything you have if you don't give. Yeah, no, I got to pay this guy. Oh, wait, you don't have it? Wait, you gave it to another bank? Yo, other bank. And then you have the Great Depression, dude. And that's literally what effing happened. And we all forget about
Depression, dude.
Wow.
No. Do you know what's crazy, man? You know what I learned the other day?
Right on.
USD money started being minted with like what we currently understand as money. The Federal Reserve was started in 1913, right? When did we create credit?
After.
So it was like 1938, let's say. I can't remember if it's 28 or 38, right? So wait, there was a time where there wasn't credit. Okay? So money was made, and then somebody had the idea of like buy now, pay later. Okay.
Who was that motherfucker?
It's probably like fucking like JP Morgan, bro. JP Morgan. Papa JP Morgan.
JP Creditberg.
Bro, I forget who it is, man. But when you look back in history, you go, what the fuck? All of the big names of the businesses, those were the guys who started these companies back in like 1920, right? So 1938, they create credit. They go, hey, man, people will buy now, pay later. This is great. And then in the next year, they said, wait a second. If people will buy now, pay later for goods and services, I bet they would put money into a company and wait later to get it back. And what's that called?
A bank.
Stocks. Stocks were now invented. So now I can get your dumb ass to give me all of you, and then I can do stuff with it. And then if I make any money back, I pay you back later.
Wait, when roughly are you saying stocks were invented?
I think it was 1938 and 39 or something like that.
After credit?
Like right after credit. It was like the tail. They're like, wait, they'll pay later for things? Let's get them to put the money into the stock market and we'll make a whole bunch of money off these suckers. So I read this effing article, bro, and guess what happened? Do you know what happened when stocks were invented? Everybody lost their mind and had to get into stocks. Do you know what happened around that time? Technology came out. Guess what they got? They got the ticket printer. You can now walk into a store and it'll print out what the stock prices are because there's no internet and phones kind of suck. And we just invented this phone line printer out or on a piece of paper thingy. So it was a revolution, bro. It was, you went into any store and every store had a printer, had a ticket printer. What are the stocks? Hey, dude, you see the stocks today? Yeah, the stocks. Oh, I can't believe the stocks. Hey.
See?
And then guess who got into stocks? The housewives. They're bored. They're at home. They heard about stocks. They bought a ticket printer. They can get into stocks and they can invest their money. Guess who doesn't understand how to do money? The poor housewives. They lose a shit ton of money in stocks.
All right, that's fucking sexist. I'm gonna stop.
And that was a sham, bro. It was a dupe to get people's money in the market and use their money, because now you're the loser, that last guy without a chair. And now I redistributed your money into my pocket in my company. And now you're sad sitting down with no money. And hey, dude, all's fair because it was a game. The game was betting on my stocks. And guess what happened? Regulations came out. They said, oh, shit, man. That was like a pandemic. It was a literal money pandemic. People were so obsessed and hooked on these stocks that everybody was losing their money, and they had to start doing regulations. And that's what birthed the wall to get into the stock market. Fast forward, we go, oh, why you got to have like a lot of money to get into the stock market? It was all because people were just getting duped and tricked. And then fast forward, we have cryptocurrency. Now what's happening? I'm telling everybody, hey, even you could trade. You can get in $10. But then I quickly go, whoa, pump the brakes, be careful. You can get wrecked. Don't be a trader, just be an investor. I totally believe that Bitcoin value is going to go up, even if it's not the real money. Even if we all don't decide that Bitcoin is the one, it's going to make another bubble pop. Before that pop, buy some right now, okay? Yep. It's going to go up again. It'll fall down. But right now we're on a low.
In basically anybody whose life, who's alive right now, it's probably worth buying into.
Dude, I got a chart I can show you.
The next 5 years, 10 years.
I got a chart I can show you. This thing's going easy to 100 to 250,000 in the next 2 to 5 years. Easy.
It could do what?
You just look at
5.
It's going to be anywhere from 100 to 250 grand. Easy.
100 to 250 grand.
Yep, I can show you a chart literally, and you go, damn, Scotty, I 100% believe you. Where do I put my...
Let's save that for a future episode.
And that will be called the halvening, because that's what's coming up in May, where Bitcoin halves how many Bitcoins are created. Every 10 minutes right now, 12.5 Bitcoin are created. It's another scarcity mechanism. And so what happens is, if you look back on the chart, OG Bitcoin, every 10 minutes, there were 50 Bitcoin. In 2012, the halvening happened, and only 25 were made every 10 minutes. The price shot up because now it's more scarce. In 2016, the halvening happened, and now only 12.5 are made because that's half of 25, right? Wait a second. I said 2016, the halvening happened. Do you guys remember what happened at the end of 2017?
Bitcoin didn't have any increase in value.
It went to $19,000.
Yeah.
About a year after the halvening, right? Well, we got another halvening coming up in May. And now there's only going to be 6.25 Bitcoin created every 10 minutes. So it looks like it's most likely going to skyrocket in value, because me personally, I really believe that whoever the hell invented and released this shit released some website internet stuff, bro. Like, look how the internet changed and revolutionized our entire life, man. Email changed and revolutionized our entire life. And all of the naysayers said, poo-poo email, poo-poo smartphone. Now I got 70-year-old ladies coming in and going, what do you mean you're not going to fix my cell phone in 20 minutes? I have to call my grandson at 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. I'm 100% with you on the invention of blockchain technology.
Yep.
Blockchain technology, revolutionary. It's
better than backing money by debt.
And another cool thing about blockchain there's all kinds of uses for that concept, but another one is preventing voter fraud because of the way the blockchain,
right.
We can get into that for a later episode, but I agree that blockchain technology and cryptocurrency is potentially as revolutionary as the internet. And a fun fact going along with that, another sell that got me on Bitcoin and crypto and all that, more people have access to the internet in the world than a bank.
Literally.
So it makes more sense. It makes, even more sense in that respect to keep money on the internet, basically.
This is now my bank.
What's a good way to do that? Cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is one way to do it, and it is a good way, and it has the blockchain technology and verification of transactions, and the fact that they can't just make up money in imaginary numbers and move numbers around. The fact that there is a cap and there is scarcity, unlike the American dollar or other currencies, and the fact that that can't be manipulated by a central bank is huge. And that's kind of the idea with voter fraud and other applications or uses for it. So I'm 100% with you. I think it's potentially as revolutionary as the internet.
Medicine and produce will all be tracked on the Bitcoin or on the blockchain, and you will be able to tell where they've been, how old are they, and how viable and nutritious or helpful or beneficial to you are they.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. Yep, it can be, any industry, every industry would benefit from it and be revolutionized by it. Absolutely.
Bro, you're going to have vape juice on the blockchain, fam. And
exactly.
Go like, hey, bro, what is the half-life of this VG? Like, oh, it was in, it was birthed in, Texas, and then it was put on a truck, and then in the next week it showed up in, Chicago, and it was there for 3 days. And then it showed up in Rockford only 2 weeks after the juice was invented or created. And then, it sat on Marco's shelf for another 2 weeks. And oh, cool. I literally know this juice is 1 month old. Mm-hmm. Or the ingredients or,
you know that because it's information that's been, if I'm saying this correctly, put on the blockchain, and it's being verified by thousands of computers at a time across the world, simultaneously.
Essentially.
Whereas nothing else is really like that.
So a weird side note, though, is sometimes people hear all these good things and then they assume all of them are good. All of these are just the rules that they decided to make for Bitcoin.
Right. It's the rules of the game.
So things like XRP, that is a cryptocurrency, is what we call the bank coin. And it's the bank crypto. And they have a holy bagillion million of XRPs that are all held in escrow from the centralized company. And they choose when to just birth 500 million XRP or burn 3 million XRP to toy around with their amount of coin and scarcity.
So the way I think of it is, if crypto is the internet, then what does evil do with the internet? Well, if the internet is verifiable truth, how do you beat that? Well, you dump a bunch of bullshit. You cloud it in untruths.
Fake news.
Yeah, fake news. Yeah, exactly. Fake news. Now,
shams.
When it comes to shams, now when it comes to Bitcoin, if you have something that's revolutionary and really good and that would take down banks and change the world, what do you do to stop that when it's being verified by thousands or millions of computers at the same time and it's unstoppable? Well, you dump a bunch of extra bullshit coins on the market. You confuse people, which, I guess this is my perspective with you saying that. If you're saying that Bitcoin is the only coin that operates on those rules and people can make their own coin, which I know people can make their own coins and have them abide by whatever rules they want. We actually saw a Pepsi coin, right?
Something like that.
It was like a Pepsi coin. So then, corporations can take over that idea and can convolute that idea and, make it see their own interest. They can not have a market cap or inflate it or fluctuate or adjust it or benefit in some way.
Manipulate it
in some way. So a good point.
Oh, dude, because there's a whole bunch of scams that have literally done that. Exactly. We could do a whole sham show on just crypto scams, bro, that are money.
So I think a good point is, something you've been saying or I'm understanding is that, all these rules that we're talking about, all these benefits of crypto, a lot of them are, revolve around Bitcoin itself, not necessarily.
Right. They're exclusive to Bitcoin. Yeah. Yep. Exclusive to Bitcoin.
Very important point.
For instance, before I forget, that drop that we saw, we were around 9K and we dropped all the way down to F and 3K, dude. A lot of people say that with on-chain analysis, that was catalysted by this group that conducted not only the biggest cryptocurrency scam ever, it was literally the largest Ponzi scheme to this day in all of history. And these guys stole so much money that when they decided to cash out the other day, it dropped the whole effing market thousands of dollars.
Oh.
And that's what's wild about being in this cryptocurrency trading market in an infancy. It's actually at $125 billion. That sounds like money. It's very tiny. Somebody moves a 100 million, that moves the effing market. What is market cap? How much money is all in it, right? There's like $125,000 of Bitcoin, okay? What is the gold market cap? It's like 8 trillion. What do you think would happen to the price of Bitcoin if only 10% of gold bugs redistribute that wealth into the Bitcoin market?
Something else. Gold bugs.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be wild? Yeah.
It would be wild. And Scott, I'm having a great time. I'm sure Kurt is, and I feel like you are. And we're having a great conversation, but I think we're going to wrap it up. I have to use the restroom. We're kind of at our time limit. And
start turning into a pumpkin.
Took us a while to figure this out, but
I think we got some good shots.
Yeah, we got some good footage, and we got it set up for next time to have you on. You know, we know how to do it now. And,
Most def, bro.
To have you on soon. You know, I guess anytime now, right?
Anytime, my man.
Yeah, anytime.
I'm definitely down to be the regular, bro. Do a week.
Yeah, you have a lot of valuable stuff to say, tech-wise, and, you know, I'm fascinated with cryptocurrency, as basically everyone should be. And obviously we have a history. You're hilarious. And cheers to many more good conversations with you.
Thanks for touching in, man. I'm glad we could make it work.
Thank you very much for having me on the show, gentlemen.
Thank you, Scott. And that'll conclude the Sham Show.